Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 Triple Bingo Tournament sponsored by the Global Speedrun Association. Darrow here, hanging out with Electric, looking forward to this awesome Triple Bingo Tournament. How you doing tonight, Electric?
Doing great myself, Thor. So these two racers are pretty close in skill overall. Shansss with a 150 to 120 star PB, Pete with a 148. So should be a pretty close bingo tournament. We'll see exactly how they manage this card tonight.
Well, what's really interesting about Shansss himself is that he actually runs on keyboard. I got to listen to a post-race interview on Big Simp's channel the other day in his 16-star invitational, and phenomenal what this man can do with the keyboard. I'm interested to see. I've got to commentate a couple of his matches so far, and it's always a treat to see where these runners are going. And that's kind of what this Triple Bingo tournament is about.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And with how much this game relies on small angle changes, the ability to run on a keyboard is just absolutely ludicrous. I still can't understand how he does it, honestly.
It's true, and while watching the run, you can see the different angle changes that happen, and so it may seem a little bit different to the viewer, but that's from that tailored keyboard movement. And then on the other side of the fence, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Pete, a 16-star runner, 70-star runner, 120-star runner, as you mentioned before. 120 of course, is the equivalent to what a 100% run would be in the SM64 community. So being familiar with that is really the key here in these bingo tournaments.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And just knowing what sort of routes these cards can give you. I mean, this route could give you anything from open every cannon to get all of the stars in Rainbow Ride. Like there are so many things that can happen. And you have to remember that they cannot use LBLJ or SBLJ. So anything that happens upstairs, they're going to have to do after 30 stars. So
Absolutely.
that'll definitely put a damper on any row, including anything upstairs.
And speaking of the man, the myth, the legend, Pete, we've got him in the call right now. Pete, how you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I know you're pretty excited about this race. What do you think the viewers are going to see from you this evening?
Nothing really exciting. I haven't really done many triple bingos, so not too familiar with this part of the game.
Not too familiar with it, but definitely a long history in speedrunning. What have you done to prepare for this race?
I've done a few triple bingos by myself today.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's all in the cards. We have no clue what's going to happen until this race starts. So your strategy is going to change. How did you do with those kind of practice races that you had today? What were some of the obstacles that you saw?
Well, I didn't really see any obstacles. I just chose lines that weren't good and wanted to see what kind of times I'd get with them. Pretty much it. I really had no strategy.
And now, I know you were kind of listening as we talked before. Shansss, the keyboard legend. How do you feel about that? Now, do you run on a Hori? Do you run on an OEM controller? What do you typically run with?
I run on an OEM controller.
On an OEM controller. So how does it feel going up against a gentleman who has proven himself time and time again on a keyboard?
I'm pretty nervous. He's pretty good at the game on keyboard, so should be pretty close race. And then, yeah.
That sounds good to me. Now, is there anything that you would like to let our viewers know before you get started in this race?
No, I don't have anything to say.
Nothing to say at all, but hopefully we'll see that surprising action tonight from these two awesome runners. Pete, thanks so much. We'll get with you right after the race. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
So as you can see in the center of your screen, it says click to reveal. As soon as we get this race started here momentarily, a bingo card will be revealed. Now, triple bingo, what's a little bit different than normal bingo is they're going to be going for 3 separate lines. So once it's revealed, we kind of have a little bit more information, and we try to get into those runners' heads to try to figure out where they're going, what they're going to do, what they're thinking about.
That's exactly right. And with the triple lines, there's definitely going to be a lot of strategery involved, using a George Bushism there.
Right.
Because in a lot of cases, you'll see a line that is obviously better than anything surrounding it. But in this case, you know, the things surrounding that line may make it that much worse. You may need to go to something suboptimal because everything around it happens to be decent overall.
Right. It looks like both of our runners are readying up right now, getting ready to get this round two. And we'll get that corrected for you in just a second. Round two of this tournament started in just a moment. I did get the chance to commentate against or with Shands and Yale last week, where it was a very close race, almost in sync as far as these runners go. So I'm interested to see what Shands has. And then, of course, you heard Pete, who has very limited knowledge, very limited availability as far as the triple bingo. He did have the opportunity to run today, but I'm interested to see what this 120 star runner has to bring to the table for this.
That's definitely for sure. And we have them both starting up now. One quick note, Pete is actually running on OG hardware, so he will be having to deal with lag occasionally. But despite that, his PB is better than Shan's, so I think he'll be able to overcome it pretty easily.
Looks like the card has been revealed directly in the center. We can take a look and see all stars in BOB. That could be a possibility, especially early game. Something to take care of. We got the 4 100 coin stars up in the top left, open 3 corners. All stars and Rainbow Ride, which is not a huge possibility. 10 Castle Secrets. Now we know there's only 15 in the entire game, so 10 is kind of a large amount. And then the 100 coin star and Wet Dry World. Looking through these, the card isn't half bad. It seems to be super saturated with 100 coins, if you can take a look. We've got the 4 100 coins that's going to be in row 1, column 1, and then all the way in row 3, column 5, you've got one. Row 4, column 5, you've got one. So we've got 100 coins galore.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And these 100 coin stars, some of them are relatively quick, but you have to keep in mind that 100 coin in Wet Dry World, for instance, that's an upstairs star. 100 coin in, let's see, or 3 stars each from TTC Rainbow Ride, that's another upstairs star. Like, we're definitely looking at a card that's going to have our runners getting somewhere around 34, 35 stars, I'm thinking.
Looks like Shan's knocking out that bomb clip. Now we are in sync. Look at this sync with the blow up by Pete here. Both runners scrolling through that text, getting through. Let's see where they're going to go now. The options are endless, and trying to get, wow, the sync is just amazing.
No doubt there. And they're both going into Womps. Pretty wise decision, I think. Let's see what on the card we're seeing. At least 3 stars from 8 stages. I think that they could go for this one in Womps, considering it's just such a fast stage overall.
You could possibly say that they're in sync. I mean, is that a possibility? Looks like we're going up top.
Let's see, are they going to be going for... Oh, looks like Shan's... Both of them actually going for a triple jump wall kick for Owless.
Oh, and Shan's fails. Now, that is an incredibly difficult trick, especially on keyboard, trying to line up those angles. So Shan's
and he gets
fails
a second.
Owless for the second time in a row.
Pete coming out ahead right there. And man, that wall kick right there.
And for another one. Let's see if he goes for the backup. Looks like he's going to go ahead and go for that backup of Cannonless instead of going for Alice.
Looks like he's using the sock folder setup, and he gets it. Nice. A little bit slow, but definitely reliable there.
Now, we do have Pete also going for Cannonless very quickly. Shan's just a little bit behind because of missing that Owless a total of 3 times. But still, at this point in a triple bingo match, anything goes. Absolutely anything goes. And trying to figure out what's going through these racers' minds at the exact same time is what's interesting. Looks like Shan's going to go ahead and try once again for Owless. And
he grabs it. Nice.
Very, very nice.
That must be that much more difficult on a keyboard because you pretty much have to flip that stick to the opposite direction near instantly in order to be back far enough in order to clip into that fence.
Absolutely. It looks like Pete heading out of Womp's Fortress, heading into JRB, as Shan's is finishing up his WF run, going for that shoot into the big blue.
I wonder if Pete's going to be going for row 3, column 5, red coring star in JRB. I'm thinking he will.
Right now, both runners, anything goes. And what's interesting is no runner is going to run any of these routes the same. But right now, looks like these guys are still just seconds behind each other, running the exact same route, heading for the JRB. Now, JRB has only ran in 120. Now, we discussed earlier that being a 120 runner is almost a necessity for participating in bingo. A regular bingo event will typically last around 30 minutes. It's interesting when you add that triple aspect, it only adds about 10, 12 minutes to the run, even though you're completing more lines. Both of them getting that ship clip fairly easily.
Looks like Shan's got it a little bit quicker, but Pete executing pretty well in the treasure chest despite that low health, and he grabs that star.
So right now, looks like Shands is only trailing by around 15 seconds. Still plenty of time to be able to catch up. Not opting to jump out of the water for that star. A lot of runners like to run along the right side of the ship on the inside and kind of fall down and then do the ground pound. But Shan's electing to kind of wait it out, let the water come down just so they can ground pound straight up.
Now, I wonder if going along the side of the ship, as we mentioned so many times, I wonder if that's harder on keyboard.
It's a possibility, getting those angles. That's what it's about. There's that you have that 360-degree camera. However, you're almost stuck into specific angles. We know that certain tricks, certain methods operate 100% based upon those angles. If you can't line it up, you can't line it up. And so on keyboard, that definitely changes how you would run. Shan's opting to go ahead and open up this cannon here while Pete is pushing through that 100 courting JRB. Now, JRB is kind of interesting because a lot of the other stages that are around have a plethora of coins. JRB does not. So this route that's ran for typically 120 star is very deliberate, very specific, and there's certain clips that you have to get, and that's where your time save comes from.
Absolutely. And if you miss any of those blue coins in that cave, you're pretty much done for. And the routing is especially difficult when you have to consider the ship cycle and the whole thing.
Shan's opting to go up for the red coin as Pete is finishing up his 100 coin, getting bopped by the clamorific clam.
Then we do see here, it looks like Shan's with opening that cannon was kind of thinking ahead. He's going to have to open 3 cannons if he wants row 1, column 2. So looking ahead right there.
As we talked about before, lots of 100 coin routes. Lots of 100 coin routes in this particular card. Red coins in JRB, we can see both of the runners go ahead and just checking that block off. It's anybody's game at this point. Shan's with the more deliberate movement has allowed him to catch up to Pete. Pete, that the typical 120 runner, you almost get into that mindset of this is my route, this is where I'm going. Shan's definitely showing a little bit better as far as movement goes, and that's really what's pushing Shan's and narrowing that gap between these two runners.
Absolutely there. Although we do have to note that Pete does have just that one more star, but with how much of this card focuses on upstairs, I'm really thinking that we're going to see a high star total. So whoever gets to that upstairs first may have a pretty significant advantage.
And it looks like Shan's opting to go ahead and get that JRB cannon star. He didn't go with the cheese movement of that extra super sexy JRB cannonless.
The long jump right through the ship. Both of them going to the coolest mountain around, and Pete going first for wall kicks will work. Looks like they kind of didn't work for him a little bit at first, but he ended up coming through in the end.
I've thought about this particular stage, this particular course. You've got a large penguin at the bottom who's looking for her baby, who's all the way up at the top, but then she's got her other child is like dangling precariously from the top of the house that's right next to her, but she doesn't care. You go to her, she's like, "This is not even my baby, okay? I don't even want to know anything about it."
Absolutely. And I mean, there's no other mother penguin around. Like, she's very obviously lying. Nintendo has very deep lore in this game with regards to talking about the issues of mothers not properly taking care of their children.
Right. Maybe that's a Nintendo theme. Maybe that's what they adjust their lore based upon, is that mother-child relationship.
Because, I mean, if Princess Peach's mom would have really taken care of her, she wouldn't be kidnapped by this Koopa every single day.
All the time. All right, Pete finishing up with that red coin. Shan's, of course, bringing that baby back to that big, beautiful mother that we see down at the bottom.
Let's see which one they go for next year.
Now, what's interesting, there's 2 separate routes that you can do for 100 coin here in CCM. Some take that safer route of not doing it with the penguin race. Others like to do it with the penguin. It's very specific, and there's different schools of thought on how many coins you need to enter with. And it all depends on what your comfort level is. Of course, these 2 top tier runners, I don't expect anything less from them other than running with this penguin.
When it actually looks like in star count, Shan's slightly exceeding Pete at the moment. Let's see, he's going into Dark World, it appears. Remember, LBLJ is banned, so they do have to open the door, unfortunately. And he's going towards that peach painting, but oh no.
That's how it is. They just get you.
My biggest regret in life is that when I first played this game, I was so young that someone had to explain the surprise to me. I never got the surprise.
Terrifying Bowser.
Right?
Terrifying Bowser. That's what that is.
And
Looks
Shan's
like
actually
is
skipping the 8 red coins in Dark World. Oh my god.
I mean, and it is a faster movement specifically. You know, nothing really ties to the card for these 8 red coins here. Now, both of these Bowser courses up, he went that muscle memory kicking in to grab that star that wasn't there because he didn't get the reds. But all of your Bowser courses are focused on movement, very deliberate movement. When you look at even the 16-star runners, the big boys such as Lunar Jump, Aki, Zaya, a lot of these guys that run 16, the movement is very, very deliberate. You can't second guess yourself in any of your Dark World, your Fire Sea, or even going up into bits.
No doubt. There's so many dives that are near frame perfect from a specific jumping position. The cycles are so unforgiving. There's really, you cannot second guess or just hesitate at all in Dark World. It just will not forgive you for that.
Looks like Pete electing, like I was thinking before, to go ahead and go for that 100 coin in CCM. Shan's putting on that wing cap, flying through the air.
So that makes me wonder whether Pete's going to end up planning on doing column 1 or row 1 with those 400 coin stars. Or even the diagonal. Who knows with that?
Yeah, you've got that diagonal left to right, right there.
And it doesn't look
anybody's
too
game.
bad. Secret Star and THI, not the worst in the world for upstairs. 6 stars in DDD, that's a little bit bad. But the BOB and the cap stage stars, those aren't really a huge issue, I wouldn't think. So we'll see what they end up going for. A little bit too early to really predict what exactly they're going for on this card, but we'll definitely keep you updated with our thoughts.
All right. Looks like Shan's is heading up to go for Vanish Cap. Draining that water out of that moat. Man, I wonder what this pump system is.
It must be going through the cracks. Like that, those must all be little drains.
All right, Pete finishing up row 1. Column 1, row 4. All stars in CCM.
So we're definitely seeing Pete establish at least 2 of his 3 bingos here.
Shane's electing to go ahead and, well, it looked like he was going for reds. I'm not quite sure that he is. Looks like getting through these particular caps.
I think he may have realized that the cap stage stars did not require reds. Or wait, do they?
They do not. He can still exit course without any issue. He can hit that switch. He did go for reds. Buffering over here, I did miss the fact that he was going for red, so he's going to go ahead and grab that star and get out.
And commentator forgetting how exactly Mario 64 works here. My apologies. I somehow managed to forget that the cap stage stars are the red coin stars.
So, right, yes.
You learn something new every day.
Learn something new every day. That's what it's all about. All right, so
all about that education.
Through Dark World, also electing, of course, not to get those reds much quicker without him. You don't need them. There's nothing in the card that needs them, but he still jumps across.
Ooh, I haven't really seen this route before.
Little bit different. I would assume that muscle memory would kick in doing those reds. He did not overshoot the pipe as Shansss did. It's interesting to see these runners over and over make these mistakes that aren't really mistakes. Just it's muscle memory. It's built into your body.
Absolutely. And the ability of him to recover so quickly from that is just, it floors me. It's amazing. That's what really matters in a race like this.
Now, I'll tell you, I'm not the best SM64 speedrunner, but this is my absolute favorite 100 coin route. I love 100 coin in Lethal Lava Lands, land, as Zaya calls it. My favorite 100 coin. It's a lot of fun rolling around on that shell when it's up. Of course, Shansss having to do it without the shell, which takes even more skill. 78 coin right now.
And the fact that he has this route memorized, that's really wild. Going into the volcano right now, collecting the rest of the coins there. And you know, I really love both this and SSL's 100 coin route simply because you have to go inside of a building, cannot use the red coin star as your base, so you have to get a different star at the same time. Right. Definitely requires a little bit of creativity in the routing there.
The movement up here is also interesting. Most of your 70 runners specifically utilize Lava Boost to be able to get up to the top. So it's really those 120 runners that set themselves apart as they're going up. We see instead of the exit course here, he is going to go ahead and kill himself, because if you exit course, you're right back in that volcano.
Absolutely. And we see Pete here entering Boring Boo's house.
Boring Boo's house. We talked about that a little bit before the stream. We talked about the crazy piano in there. Not a lot of really incredibly difficult strats, but very tedious strats in BBH. But it is definitely one of my favorite courses.
It was definitely my favorite as a kid, no doubt, which is a little bit ironic now, considering.
Now, you know, I am getting official reports from Paracuzzi himself that BBH is sick, so I will have to lay into that. Commentators injecting their own opinion on there. The only thing that drives me crazy about BBH is the camera placement. You know, all of your other courses and things, you don't really have to work around that camera placement, but it's something you get used to. It's something that you almost learn, like that muscle memory we talked about before.
Right. You have to always remember, this was the first real 3D platformer. You want to talk to me about Bubsy 3D? We'll do that after the stream. But
right.
This game had no template, so you got to forgive the camera every so often. And in enclosed spaces, the Lakitu bros, they need some help. They need some milk.
They definitely need something to help them out. You know, the only time that they ever help out in these runs is going to be in Rainbow Ride with that Lakitu bounce. Other than that, we're controlling everything that they do. Like you said, get them some milk. All right, we got an HMC 100 coin route coming from Shansss right now, a route that he's very familiar with.
Let's see if he can execute the end of this cleanly here. Going up the elevator.
The BLJ, I would think, would be even more difficult on keyboard. You see, instead of jumping back onto the platform, he had to stop himself, stop his momentum, so that he could turn around and BLJ to make sure that he gets through. There are a
little bit of finagling, but he did manage to get it. What were you about to say? There were a couple of...
There's a couple of different routes for 100 coin. Of course, the route that we just saw from Shansss is the more advanced route, where you BLJ. The alternate route has one of the extra eyes that you have to take. It's unique. You almost have to take damage so that you can get around the eye to get that blue coin from him.
Those eyes are definitely a pain, especially with the way Mario turns. It's a little bit unpredictable, so definitely requires some precision movement, which we're seeing from Pete right now.
Looks like, and you know what's kind of interesting about these eyeballs is Mario has to be looking at them. You know, look at him eye to eye, face to face.
He's got to challenge him for that money.
Exactly, for that extra coinage, I guess you would have to say. Excuse me. Looks like Pete finishing up his BBH 100 just as Shansss is doing the same over in HMC. HMC also one of my favorite courses as well. I don't understand why there's a whole bunch of oil in the bottom of the castle. Do you think you could kind of explain that for me?
Oil in the bottom of the castle. Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the portal technology that works on the paintings also works with general oils, since a lot of paints are oil-based. So I guess they just ran out of paintings to use and just decided, we'll just use oil.
Either that, or on top of it, I think Peach actually may control the oil industry. Maybe that's why our gas prices are so high. Maybe
This is
that's why
true.
Bowser keeps kidnapping her.
The lore never does expand upon exactly why Peach owns a kingdom. So, and we do see Shansss going into DDD right now. We'll see how many stars he grabs in DDD, but he's looking to get upstairs early. He's really itching to get up there.
I don't know if you saw the second half of that Mips clip. Uh, it's really difficult to be able to get that clip almost instantly like he did.
And
Uh,
especially on keyboard.
As we've been talking this entire race, especially on keyboard, there's different trains of thought. Whether you have to go Mario Cam, you have to get that camera angle lined up to be able to pop it through. That's that muscle memory kicking in from Shansss, this incredible runner. Got Pete still hanging out with Boo. Looks like he's finishing up with good old Boo, getting those red coins now, falling straight through.
And I think we could definitely see he's going to be aiming for that bottom row for sure. Probably also column 5 and column 2 by the looks of it. Or potentially he could be going TLBR and column 5.
It's a possibility. Got Shansss heading into Fire Sea, another one of those movement-based courses.
So he's definitely decided to skip out on the Bowser red coin stars since he missed that first one.
Right. Not getting that pole skip. I don't believe that he was attempting to go for it. It looks like he's getting possibly early cycle here. Let's see if he lands it.
Stuck that landing, looks like. Very nice. He's got those long jumps going forward. Very precise there.
It's surprisingly deceptive how difficult those jumps can be, especially if you're not in Mario Cam. A lot of beginners start out with Mario Cam C up to try to line up and getting that final dive at the end to only burn twice and actually get it in to go see Bowser.
Absolutely.
Flipping around by the tail. Thank God he's not a lizard. His tail would fall off and he wouldn't hit any bombs. So hits it on his first try. Shansss
spins up in the air after complaining. He'll see you upstairs.
Looks like Bowser 2 key is received.
And it also looks like Pete getting either his penultimate or final star in BBH. I believe that might be his 5th star there. Oh, he's going for one more. So this will be Pete's final stage before he gets that 3rd square on row 5.
It was really interesting watching the beginning of this, watching both runners having the same mindset. And this is what I was talking about earlier, how two people can look at the exact same card and come up with completely different routes on what's more efficient. And going back to the old adage from Blue Bob, strat saves seconds, movement saves minutes. And that's what we're seeing here today. We're seeing that deliberate movement from both of these runners, very experienced runners.
No doubt on that. And even just generally different approaches. All the way up until now, we've seen Shansss mainly go for trying to open up as much of the castle as he could, while Pete's actually going for those squares. Excuse me. So we'll see exactly how that shakes up. Shansss actually looking like he's going into BBH, maybe trying to copy Pete's strategies there. Pete just exiting BBH.
So right now, it looks like Pete is going for column 5 there, column 4, and row 5. The two converge, of course. They're both going for row 5 and column 5. However, Shansss electing to go with, row 2. Now, what's interesting is it could be row 2, it could be column 2. We haven't really seen him pushing to get those one up, so I don't think he's going for row 2. It's most likely column 2 with opening that cannon earlier. That means in-game, upstairs, getting into Tippy, 6 stars in Rainbow Ride. We all know that that's the run killer of Super Mario 64. Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock. Just as Shansss is going through and getting that creepy piano that used to scare the heck out of me as a kid. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know anyone that wasn't traumatized by that piano. It's just like that that mummy from Courage in that one episode. Return the slap. See, I love that show, but everyone I've ever talked to, they have some story about waking up in the middle of the night, turning the TV on, and bam, scared for life.
So can you give your best impression of that particular piano?
Dong, 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 dong.
Exactly, and that's just as scary as the nightmares that I had as a kid. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. PTSD right here on GSA Super Mario 64 Triple Bingo Tournament round number 2.
As Shansss is going for those BBH stars, and Pete looks like he's starting off HMC 100 coin.
We'll have to see again with a runner of this particular caliber. I know that he's going to be doing a very similar route to what we saw from Shansss. Heading back into BBH, it's almost as if they flip-flopped.
Right?
Shansss was in HMC, Pete was in BBH, and now they've flip-flopped. Still keeping up with each other. That's what's amazing. It takes a lot of forethought to be able to take a look at this card, which has 25 blocks on it, and decide, okay, what's the best route. So when we're seeing these runners run so similarly, it's truly amazing how speedrunning, especially in SM64, it's not just about what's the best. It's about game knowledge. It's about knowing where to go, what to do, what's better for you.
Exactly. It's really just about knowing yourself, not trying to overcome your personal limits. I mean, that's really what it's all about. You'll always see someone do better with slightly slower strats than someone that's just not good enough yet at the great strats. Hasn't practiced enough.
Ooh,
Isn't that
Pete.
consistent?
Pete
Suffers
getting
from that
rolled
boulder
over.
right there. He
Now,
needed to watch for that rolling rock, and he failed on that one. I
one
think he
thing
had
to
one too
remember,
many A presses.
we have Bowser 2. Shansss has that key. Pete does not currently have that. So while we're looking at this, we need to kind of keep that in mind as well, that Pete, in order to get upstairs, is going to have to go through Fire Sea. So even though you see that Pete is a little bit ahead in his star count overall, I think that these runners are more even than what most folks think.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And it's whenever you're looking at the card itself and trying to figure out exactly what he's planning, that row 4 column 1 really throws around what he's been doing. Because you have to consider if he tries to go for row 4, that's got 6 stars in DDD, a slow course as it is, and then 3 stars each from TTC and RR. That's all, and the rematch with Koopa the Quick. That's all upstairs stuff. And so he's very likely not going for that row. But then again, row 3 column 1 gives you Bowser in the Sky red coin star, which he may not want to have to deal with that pressure, although as a 120 star runner he probably will be confident in doing that star. So a lot of strategery involved here. A lot of strategizing. Ooh, burning himself on that 100 coin
himself. You know, like I said earlier, as Shansss was going through LLL and grabbing this particular 100 coin, this route is by far my favorite when it comes to 100 coins. Ooh, Pete almost overshooting there and taking a little bit too much damage. He was able to pull it back right there at the last minute.
Gets that eyeball blue coin. Both of our players deciding to go at this without shells. I guess that's just because we didn't see anything. You know, now that I'm looking, there's nothing really except for that 100 coin in land that these players got on the bingo card.
Right. In order to get that shell, it's one of the later stars. So they don't really have a choice but to go through this burning themselves consistently because it's very difficult to get. I can't remember which star exactly it is, but I know that that box does not exist in the very beginning.
I believe it only exists in the 6th star. Could be the 5th one. I could be wrong on that, but you are absolutely right. It's in the back third of the course. Definitely not what these runners are wanting to go for in the middle of this bingo race. Shansss using that upstairs key to go ahead and go into some of the other areas of this card. Like we said earlier, this is a pretty upstairs heavy card, so this may be a pretty big development for Shansss. We'll see how this goes. He's entering Wet Dry World first, so very likely we're about to see 100 coin from him to go ahead and get that top right corner done.
Wet Dry World, another one of my absolute favorite courses to do. The 100 coin to me is a lot of fun, especially in the 70 arena, in the 70 route. It's a lot of fun to do, but again, very deliberate as far as movement goes.
So much movement tech involved here and so precise, and so many things can go wrong here, especially doing secrets. Fortunately, neither of our players using the Japanese version, so no sound glitch to worry about whatsoever.
And while these runners are running, I did want to give everybody in chat a heads up. If you'd like to take a look at the schedule, it's !schedule or !bracket to check out where we are in this round 2 portion of the Triple Bingo tournament. Right after this, we're going to have Simply and Pity commentating one of the best matchups I'm ready to see. You've got Triforce TK versus JJ, two awesome runners. That's going to happen on this channel immediately following this run. And then right after that, another legend, Liam Kings versus Faster Supersonic. That's going to be at 10 p.m. this evening. So make sure to stay tuned. Jump on that follow button up there, subscribe to any of the bits, any of the donations, all of that goes directly towards this tournament's prize pool. So anything that you can do to help that out, that's awesome. Drop those bits in, subscribe, and let's show these runners what they truly mean to us.
That's absolutely right. And we see Shansss going for something kind of interesting there, deciding to exit the course after 100 coin to get into THI. Not sure if that's the fastest route. He could have definitely gone for another star, and he's going to have to get at least 3 stars from 8 stages, so Wet Dry World probably would have been a good place to stay. So we'll see how this plays out in the end, Cotton.
You've got a lot of easy... Ooh, Shansss burning there. A lot of easy stars in Wet Dry World. You got Top of the Town, you got the Elevator Star, some fairly easy stars. Yes, I did catch that dodgeball reference there. Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Got to keep it fun.
Of course.
Now, Shansss
Getting that
executing
long
that
jump.
slide.
Nice.
It is deceptively difficult as well. If you're fairly new to SM64 speedrunning and you try that, you're going to fail multiple times.
Ooh, and Pete looking like he's getting pillarless here to start off Sandland. And here we go. Top of the pyramid goes to Pete. We'll see if he manages to try for a bomb clip and succeed again on this one. Bomb clip being such a difficult trick. Only really the top runners have it so consistent they don't have to worry about it. And even then, sometimes it just fails. It's, I believe, frame perfect in order to get that bomb to clip into Mario enough to do that movement.
It is, and then you've got a ground pound right at the end that you have to time perfectly, or you just go flying like crazy. Looks like Shansss making short work of those piranha plants, man. I'm going to have to hire this guy to come work in my lawn because he just zoomed right through the piranha plants. The newest character.
Through the land there and diving down, going into Tiny Island. We'll see what he's doing in here.
Going for that star up top. Now, fun fact, there's been a lot of talk on the town coming out with in the Smash arena with that piranha plant, so I'm excited to see what's going to come of that also.
Definitely. And I mean, who would have ever thought that a piranha plant would get into Smash before Waluigi?
Exactly. And I know that's a common debate right now as well. Pete finishing up this red coin. Looks like both runners fairly close to finishing up column 5 there. So we have officially solidified row 5, column 5 for both runners. Still neck and neck. This is truly phenomenal watching these guys. Very little mistakes as far as movement.
Let me see Shansss here actually going for rematch with Koopa the Quick. So I think I have an idea of what Shansss is trying to do here. Column 2, row 5, and column 5. What do you think?
Absolutely. He's just filling that in now in anticipation of going ahead and beating this slow Koopa. That star was one of my favorite stars as a kid. It was a lot of fun. Of course, I didn't know the speed running route, so I just ran around like an idiot and hoped that I'd beat him.
Exactly. I can't tell you how long it took me just to blast through the cannon wall in Womp's Fortress. And now I look at these runners and they don't even bother to do that. They just grab the star through those 2 pixels.
Right. Alrighty, we got
Shansss
Pete.
leaving THI. Pete looks like he's going for 100 coin in SSL.
I don't think that I've, so far in this tournament, seen so many 100 coin routes. That's what's crazy to me, or so many 100 coin boxes to fill. I knew that was going to be something that would play into this particular matchup only because both of these runners are very familiar with 100 coin, and that's where that 120 star knowledge comes into effect.
Exactly. And here you see Pete opening up the pyramid as intended for the boss battle against the two hands, but using that for 100 coin and pyramid secrets. This is honestly my favorite collection in the game. And Shansss, meanwhile, looks like he's going
BLJ heading straight upstairs.
Ooh, and that was a quick BLJ. Wow.
Got it fairly quickly. He just ran in Simply's 16-star tournament, so I fully expected him to work on that and practice that.
Even someone like Cheese in his race earlier, he had to try for. I don't even know how.
Oh my God! Oh, Stan's falling straight down. He did not die.
Barely surviving. Such a lucky jump on that one. And he's struggling a little bit with those rotating boxes. Meanwhile, Pete going pretty smooth with the 100 coin.
Tick-tock clock is all about those angles. So I'm always interested to see when Shansss is running through how he sets himself up. Because if you notice, instead of changing the camera itself independently, he has to position Mario in a place where Lakitu will almost be directly behind him or wherever the placement will be, rather than trying to manipulate the camera, which is pretty smart, but incredibly difficult to execute.
Exactly. Camera positioning is so... I mean, there's a reason why Mario Cam RTA is a separate category with so much worse times. I mean, the camera placement is so integral to playing this game.
Simple things such as cannonless, trying to execute cannonless while in Mario Cam is incredibly difficult. I got the opportunity to watch Lunar Jump do a couple of Mario Cam runs the other day, and watching a seasoned runner like this, it just truly shows how much the camera truly plays into this game.
No doubt. And with like I said earlier, with such a primitive example of 3D platforming, the camera is not always your friend. You have to manhandle the hell out of it, and it's sometimes pretty difficult. If you ever watch the input display on Cheese's or Punkation streams, you'll see, especially in some place like JRB, you'll see so much camera movement coming from them.
Absolutely.
It's almost like they have to have two thumbs. I really don't get how they exactly get those inputs. I have so much trouble with it myself.
The claw. We call it the claw.
That claw. Something that disappointed me, I went to Disney World and they had a piece, but they didn't have a claw machine.
How do you not have a claw machine? That's the Toy Story, and forgive my copyright here. That's the Toy Story method with the aliens in the claw machine. That is pretty disappointing. I think you're gonna have to change something about that, Electric.
I'll definitely file a formal complaint. Meanwhile, it looks like not exactly. Oh, Shansss going for the 100 coin here, killing that Lakitu.
So he's got to get 6 stars in Rainbow Ride to be able to complete column 2. Meanwhile, regular rear sub with Pete making short work of that star.
Yeah, definitely. And correct me if I'm wrong, he still hasn't actually gone through Fire Sea yet. Meanwhile, his star count is near Shansss. Interesting.
Which is why he went and got that sub-star. It has nothing to do with anything that's on the board, but in order to push that water back to be able to get into Fire Sea, you have to get that star.
Absolutely right. Although I wonder if he'll go back for 2 more so he can get that 3 stars from 8 stages, because that square is even more integral to Pete than it is to Shansss.
Absolutely. And looks like Shansss going to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone here, knocking out that 6 stars in Rainbow Ride and the 3 stars each from TTC and Rainbow Ride. So he will most likely, looks like, being the first to complete 2 rows at the exact same time.
Amazing, right? Oh. Ooh, just barely falling down there. Having to go for that backup route. Let's see if he
there's
the ledge grab.
Of thought. Yep, the very easy grab. He's going to go and head to the cannon. Having a little issue with the wind. Trying to get that Lakitu above his head.
Ooh, he just barely nicks it, grabs those coins. And he has enough to go ahead and jump for that cannon star.
Pete is in Fire Sea. 3 ticks of his health left. Again, throwing Bowser like he owes him money.
And he grabs that key to go ahead and go upstairs. Now, Pete going upstairs, he does have a pretty decent bit of ground to make up. Although, It looks like the 3 stars from 8 stages is really what's going to define whether or not Pete gets this race. Because if you can manage to get that quickly enough, then he's definitely got this race in the bag. So I'm really thinking he's going to go into DDD again. And
approaching 40 minutes right now. He did not go into DDD.
he exits
actually
course.
exit
Wow.
course.
Commentator not knowing anything about the game. Not inside the runners' heads whatsoever.
You almost need that direct connection.
That telekinesis.
Telekinesis. Getting into some Doctor Strange at this point. Heading into wet, dry world. Heading into wet, dry world. Pete getting that 100 coin. Shansss going ahead and marking off the 3 stars from TTC and Rainbow Ride.
And with that, he now has 2 rows done. 1 row and a column.
All he needs to get is a couple of more stars. Looks like 4 more stars out of Rainbow Ride.
So we'll see how he handles the rest of Reset Ride. He's probably fairly nervous now, if I'd had to guess, especially if he knows exactly how far ahead he is of Pete at the moment.
You know, we talked about it in other streams and in other competitions, how the dynamic changes with Super Mario 64, especially when you start getting into bits in those Bowser throws. If the Bowser fight was completely different, I think that you would see considerably different times whenever these folks are running. The nerves start getting to you. You start kind of twitching a little bit. You're making simple mistakes that you would never make if you were just practicing. So I think it adds a completely different dynamic to the game, where you can spend an entire run being incredibly comfortable, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I could possibly PB, or oh man, I could possibly win this race, and you just missed Bowser throws.
Right, and it's really amazing and astounding to me how the final boss fight in, again, the first true 3D platformer is still so difficult for speedrunners today. You look at the fights with the Brutals in Super Mario Odyssey, and most of them have very consistent, easy setups. But those Bowser throws, you can't cheat those. You have to be just very pinpoint precise. You have to really know exactly what angle Bowser's facing on any given frame and just time those throws just perfectly. And when those nerves take effect, that is almost impossible.
And it looks like Shansss finishing up his 6th star here in Rainbow Ride, headed up to Bowser to go take him out for the final countdown. He got a little bit to catch up with. He still has the bitch red coin star, at least 3 stars to get as well. So Shansss definitely in a significant lead here.
What is this? Shansss checking through his
It's double checking to make sure that he's got the stars that he needs before he decides to BLJ upstairs.
Smart, and especially with the lead he has on Pete, it's not really going to cost him a whole lot.
The BLJ right upstairs, making it look easy. Out of the 2 BLJs, that is a lot easier because you have endless tries going upstairs.
Exactly. That endless staircase ends up working to your benefit. Fun fact, did you know that the Shindu edition actually does patch BLJ?
Yes, between that and trees. Trees are interesting as well. You know, that's why you don't see any runs on the Shindu edition. Specifically, right side executed flawlessly.
Now he's going for that long jump.
Incredibly confident. Shansss heading up to the top, right by the pipe, jumping in, hitting Bowser.
Here we go.
This is not about Peach. This is not about anybody. Bowser owes him money. We got to take care of him right now. Shansss is looking to put a nail in his coffin right here at 43 minutes.
And we have, just barely out of range of that bomb. It was literally just that 1.5 turn away. Oh my God, that is incredible. But he does manage to get that first throw.
Missing that first throw can throw off all of the rest of your throws because your camera alignment changes. But I think because Shansss is running on keyboard again, missing the last throw right there, he has an advantage for sure.
He's definitely got to be a little bit stressed at the moment. And just imagine what the turns look like. And he gets that 3rd throw right there. on a keyboard. Just imagine the type of mashing you'd have to do on those arrow keys. And he's get that big star spawn. Looks like he's going to have a 44 16 or so. Oh, 44 14.
14. Amazing performance from Shansss. Definitely showing us why he is a keyboard legend. Now, fun fact to go to, actually played on keyboard as well, which is super interesting. Looking at Shansss, looking what he can do, because it's difficult. I don't know if you've ever tried with an emulator just to casually play Super Mario 64. It adds an element to the game that no one's really used to.
Oh yeah, of course. And I mean, any Nintendo 64 title, even trying to play it with a GameCube controller, in the case of F-Zero, it just doesn't work. You have to try so hard to get yourself used to the exact way that control stick handles, because the N64 control stick is just so much different than anything that's come since.
And I did get a message from Shansss just now. He did comment row picks were incredibly important in this run, and I will have to agree. Looking at the rows that were chosen, super integral to the run. As you can see, a bitch red coin is something that would be something you would think would be easy to go for. However, All-Stars and CCM slows you down. All-Stars and SSL slows you down. And then 4 100 coins slows you down as well. So row picks were incredibly important in
Right.
this
And I mean,
particular category.
Just look, 2 of the rows were completely exactly identical between the 2 players, but it's just that decision to go with that first call. I'll be honest, I didn't fully realize the ramifications of All-Stars in 2 levels, plus that at least 3 from 8 stages. I mean, that's already, let's see, 24, and yeah, you got a minimum of 30 just in those 3 squares.
Right.
Not even considering anything else. 400 coin, bits red. So definitely a little bit of a bad decision by Pete here, but he's still pulling a really good time for this arrangement.
Absolutely. Just a ton of stars. I'm not sure what Shans's final star count was, but a ton of stars for Pete here. And that just goes to show you, it's really easy to take a look. Oh, Pete burning
Ooh.
right there at the end.
Taking that death. Ooh.
Oof.
Those fire bar cycles can be really relentless sometimes.
Pete still trekking forward. He could still end up sub 50 here.
Oh, easily. I think it's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Pete going through, attempting that one more time. Ledge grab there.
Making that jump off the fire pillar this time. A little bit of a different route, but he manages to get the star. And he will be moving on now to Bowser in the Sky.
He's got bits reds. He can show us a little bit of swag here. Now, I do want to point this out. Pete did talk about in his pre-race interview that he wasn't as comfortable with triple bingo. He had done a couple of triple bingo runs on his own today. But again, you're playing an incredibly difficult game while trying to determine a route on the fly. It truly takes some special runners to be able to make this happen.
Exactly. And Pete here also having just a little bit of an issue with that BLJ. 120 star runners and 70 star. It kind of seems they all have just a little bit of trouble with that just because they haven't practiced it just as much. And I mean, this just really goes to show you, going into this, Pete had a 2-minute best over Shansss in his 120 star time, even though he's running on real hardware and Shansss is running on MU. So going into this, you would definitely kind of think Pete has a little bit of a skill advantage, but this just proves it's all about the routing. It's all about exactly how consistent you are at your move. I definitely think Pete made a few flubs that definitely cost him some time, but it's really more than anything about that routing.
From
Another
Pete.
death in Bowser in the Sky.
But he's going to push through and go ahead and casually grab those red coins to finish up this match.
Ooh, almost falling right there, managing to get that wall kick to jump out of there. Going for that red coin again now.
I do want to go ahead and mention for everyone, Again, go ahead and hit exclamation point bracket to check out the bracket, exclamation point schedule to check out the schedule to see what's going on. We have multiple tournaments going on sponsored by GSA. Check it out. Lots of things going on, especially right after this at 8 p.m. Triforce TK versus JJ. We got Pity and Simply on the comms for that one. Right after that is going to be Liam Kings versus Faster Supersonic, both in 70 star.
Should definitely be entertaining races. I'm especially looking forward to that Triforce TK race. And nonstop, like it's very interesting how much changes just because you don't have that break between the stars.
You don't. And for folks that don't know about nonstop that's coming up, most runners are using a game shark that actually takes out the cutscene after getting a star so that you just continue on. So your lives play a factor, your exit courses play a factor. Everything plays a factor and every second counts. We've watched it's almost been like that Cinderella story over the past couple of weeks. Triforce TK getting that 70-star world record, getting the 16-star nonstop world record, which was just redone a sub 11 by Lunar Jump here in the last couple of days. It's been really great watching these runners take a category that's rarely ran and truly optimize it, finding those different routes. So if you have the chance tonight, stay tuned. Right after Pete finishes up his run here, we're going to go directly into the 70 nonstop tourney. And if you're into SMB 1 at 8:30 over on our sister channel, go ahead and check them out. That's Speedrun. Check them out. SMB going on tonight. Looks like GTA Ace versus I'm Dangerous 20 any percent tournament from 8:30 till about 10 tonight. So check that out. Twitch TV/Speedrun.
Pete taking a little bit of a hit there on the first Bowser throw. He's actually thrown him off of the course, but now he gets that second one. And really, this late game from Pete, it's kind of a little bit of flubs. I'm not sure if it's from just kind of knowing that Shansss has already finished or just being nervous in general, but we've seen a couple of pretty rough deaths here, but overall an amazingly strong run, and especially with how many stars he got, this time is really impressive.
It really is. And it's difficult, especially when right now we've got a total of 250 people watching. The nerves get to you, but Pete finishing up strong.
With that 51:38, very nice time for Bingo, especially with 42 stars. Congrats to both of our runners.
Now, this is a double elimination tournament. So if you use that exclamation point bracket, you can check out, you've got the winner's bracket and the loser's bracket. So Pete is not out of this yet.
No, sir, he is not. And we will see Shansss, the keyboard. I'm trying to think of some really nice master word that starts with a K. The keyboard sensei. Let's just go with that. He'll be going on in the quote unquote winners bracket, and you'll be able to see both of them on our next race.
Well, great run from both of these phenomenal runners. Again, stay tuned tonight. We're going to go ahead and cut right now here in the next 10 minutes or so, getting ready for the next 70 nonstop tournament. Make sure you stay tuned for that. My name is Thero Electric. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I definitely appreciate it. And I hope you have a great night. Again, congrats to all the runners and good luck to all the ones coming up.
Thanks to you too. And yeah, definitely congrats to both of our runners. Really, this has been an amazing bingo race. So just absolutely congrats. Thanks for watching, everyone.